Thanks everybody for joining us on TouchCare Talks today. I am excited to have as a guest on the show John Samuels, who's the founder and CEO of a company called Better Health Advisors here in New York City. John, thanks for coming on and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate being on today and talking to you and spending a few minutes of your time. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Better Health Advisors. Better Health Advisors is a boutique health advisory firm. We help individuals and companies navigate the healthcare system, find doctors, get second opinions, research disease, figure out what's happening medically, and make treatment decisions. We work all over the country, mostly with high net worth individuals and family offices.
And your background actually lends you to sort of a unique position to be able to do this for folks, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you come from and your previous experience prior to starting Better Health Advisors?
So I spent years working in many aspects of the healthcare system. I worked in nursing homes, I worked in emergency medicine, I worked in large academic medical centers. So I've seen a broad view of healthcare, which uniquely positions me to understand the healthcare as a system and help people holistically. My last job, I ran 16 emergency departments in an academic medical center in an urban setting.
Very cool. And so when you get a new client or you start working with somebody, where do you usually start with kind of developing a strategy or plan around helping them navigate healthcare, because it's complicated?
So often people, once someone's diagnosed, they will think, who's the right doctor? How do I find the right person for treatment? The way we approach it is we go through a holistic and broad approach to treatment. So we look at what's happening medically, who are all your doctors, what is what's a treatment plan, what's your insurance. So we take a broad view and then we create a health plan for people so that they're able to map out their next steps in treatment.
So talk to me a little bit about this concept of a health plan, because I think that's a really interesting concept that most folks don't really think about, despite healthcare and health insurance taking up such a large chunk of their headspace and their bank account or their budget annually. Most folks don't really have a plan as it relates to their short-term or long-term care, right? So talk to me a little bit about the health plan.
So often people have wealth advisors and they have a financial plan. I think there's a lot that we can plan for healthcare.
Yeah.
People have a plan when they go grocery shopping. You write a list and you prepare for that. So to us, every individual we work with has a health plan, and that's based off of our assessment of them, which is who are your doctors, what's happening medically, what is your insurance, how do we incorporate wellness, how do we plan for even things like emergencies. Most people will, at some point during the year, need to go to an emergency room or urgent care during the year, so we can help prepare for that. What do I bring? What questions to ask? How do we prepare for that? We believe that when people have doctor's visits, they should plan for that ahead of time, know what questions to ask, know how they're going to, what information they're to take from that, and prepare information ahead of time. When I ran emergency departments, people would say, well, you never know who's going to come into the ER. And we often did know. We knew that 20% of our patients would come in by ambulance, that we'd admit 15% of patients. We knew the different disciplines, types of patients we would often get. We knew Mondays would be the busiest nights. So if there are things that we can plan for, we should create a plan, even if it's for somebody who has dementia or needs long-term care. Let's plan that out so that when care needs change, we are prepared for that and we don't make last-minute decisions.
Awesome. Along those lines, I know one of the services that you help folks out with is sort of around making sure that they don't get misdiagnosed, right? Because, and we see it a lot on the TouchCare side, how common it is for somebody to receive a diagnosis or a care plan from their doctor and then just sort of blindly follow that because that's what they were told. How do you help folks sort of navigate a diagnosis and avoid a misdiagnosis?
So there's several things that we do. One is we make sure people have the right discipline of doctor before they engage in treatment. So often there's overlap in medicine in that if somebody has back pain, they can see a neurologist, they can see an orthopedic surgeon, they can see a physiatrist. So the first step is to get people to the right discipline of doctor. And then we want to get them to the actual right provider so that we get to the right person who can make the decision. We make sure that provider has the right information to make an accurate diagnosis. So we get the medical records to that person. And we also talk to the provider before treatment so that we fill in the gaps that the medical record doesn't show. Often that will be face-to-face or verbal communication with the provider prior to treatment. And then after that, we work on, often we'll do second opinions to verify what's happening up front. Often misdiagnosis, which is part of medical errors, happen because of poor communication. So we work very hard to communicate things like warm handoffs, asking one doctor to call another doctor and communicate key medical information instead of just looking at it in the medical record.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, to your point, information is power to a doctor, right? I mean, doctors are humans. They can only make an assessment based on the information that they're presented with. So the more information they have in advance, the better armed they are to make an accurate diagnosis. That's awesome.
And it's important for us to set the doctor up for success.
Right.
And setting them up for success means finding the right doctor ahead of time, getting them the information, giving them everything that's important, accurately reporting your history of medical information, and following up on what the doctor says.
Awesome. Well, John, thanks for coming on. I think you have a fascinating service that everybody probably needs. And really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks.